I'm Alana, I'm a third year here at St John's studying biochemistry. So I did biology and chemistry for A-levels and I didn't really want to pick between the two, so I thought biochemistry is the obvious choice, and that was really cemented as the right choice when I heard something by one of the tutors here actually. He said that when you're picking a science subject, you're picking the scale at which you want to look at science at. So for chemistry, that's really small atomic scale. For biology and medicine, that's really large scale, like full organisms, full populations. Biochemistry is sort of in the middle. You're looking at the molecular mechanisms on a single cell level, and that is really interesting to me because you get to know all of the different molecular mechanisms that explain all the questions you might have about biology. So for me, I was really curious, I had loads of questions, and now learning those basics for biochemistry, I can simply explain them, which is really cool. I've always wanted to come to Oxford since I was really small, just because I think it seemed like such a magical fairy tale place, and when you're here it does feel like you're living and walking through a historical novel. Also, in terms of the teaching and education you get, it is world class, and all of the tutors here have perfected the tutorial way of teaching. It feels really personal, a really personal method of teaching, and that's going to improve your learning and make you go far no matter what you study. So I didn't really know John's existed until I stumbled across it on an open day, and as soon as I stepped through the gates I felt like I was coming home. It sounds really cheesy to say, but it was so welcoming, the people there were so lovely, and I could imagine myself being there, and it has been the best choice I've made to apply to come to John's. It's so close to the biochemistry department, which is really good when you're running late for lectures in the morning. There's so many things to get involved in, and I would really recommend getting involved in those things. So in first year we had 5 different modules that we would be working on. So usually we'd go to lectures in the morning, maybe 2 or 3 hours of lectures before doing some sort of class, come back to John's, start working on a problem sheet for the tutorial that week. Now in second and third year there's a lot more essay writing. So usually I'll get up in the morning, go to hall breakfast with my friends, go for a couple of hours of lectures in the biochemistry department, maybe stay for a practical or a computer lab, come home for lunch, start working on the essay in the John's library, reading some academic articles, and then have dinner and maybe go to a society social in the evening or to the college bar. I think what's unique about the biochemistry course at Oxford is just the width and breadth of study you get to do in biochemistry. Everything you could possibly think of related to it, you're going to get taught by someone who is key in that field and is doing really current, up-to-date research on it. We've read papers from a month ago, 2 months ago, so these are really recent studies that we're getting taught, which is really exciting. We get lots of practical experience, lots of computing experience. I've learnt to code, which has been really interesting, which I'd never thought I'd do, and I think that has made my experience here really unique and interesting. So every week I go to the language centre and I do a French class. I take dance classes every Sunday, and something I've joined this year, which I didn't know about until I came to Oxford, is a society called the Witchwood Warriors. We meet up to make our own historical clothes, and then every Sunday we fight each other with swords and spears, and it's been the most fun I've ever had. If I was to give advice to my younger self, I would just say apply for everything, even if you don't think you're qualified. For example, I applied this year to do an exchange programme with John's, and I got accepted, and I'm going to Geneva next year to study, which is absolutely insane. So I'd just say get involved with whatever you can. You can have the best time of your life and do so many really cool things.